Welcome back. All right, so pretty busy night in the NHL. I was looking ahead to Thursday. Thursday, there's going to be 9 games starting at the same time. So there's four games to a board at this point. I'm going to make up a couple of boards where I can get 5 games to a board. Back in the day, before I had them all taped off, I used to try to get I think 6 was my maximum. And at 6, it kind of gets everything squashed down. So I'm going to try to make a couple of boards where it's 5 because we're going to have some busy nights. We have 52 days left in the regular season. That's it, and there's a lot of games left to be played. So with the amount of busy nights we're going to have, trying to make it so it's easier for me to keep track of everything. And if I only have to look at 2 boards rather than 3, it just gets a little bit easier. That being said, let us go ahead and jump in. That's what the timestamps are for, as I say. And New Jersey and Colorado. So tonight was the night of the teams with really good records not winning the games. And this was interesting because it was Kemper versus Dawes. Hughes has a break. He fires wide. Early jump was for the Devils, but Kemper's making saves. There's a post for Dougie Hamilton. The shots are 7-1 for the Devils at 7 minutes. They came out very, very well in this game. The Avs get a power play, though, and they score on it. It's McKinnon from Landeskog at 9:04. The Avs then press for another. Tatar has a shot that deflects out. The Avs get another power play. They score on that one, too. It's Rantanen first from McKinnon and Makar at 14:27. Mercer can't bury one on a rush. The Devils had a 3-on-2. Mercer's denied. It's 2-0 Colorado after 1. Second period. Landeskog has a rush chance that deflects out. At 5:52, Makar scores his 21st of the season from Taves and McKinnon. The shots are 8-7 Avs at 9 minutes. So at this point, there's all kinds of games going on. And this was one I was like, I don't know if I have to track this one anymore. So at certain points, I decide what I don't have to worry about tracking. Like, we'll get to the Arizona game. But Tatar scores from Zacha and Siegenthaler at 9:20. And so I got to kind of stick around because that's a 2-goal lead. And at 12:18, it becomes a 1-goal lead when Ty Smith scores from Hughes and Sharangovich. The Devils then get a power play. Now, the Avs did kill that off, but New Jersey gets another one. They score on that one. It's Severson from Bratt and Zacha at 17:21. And then the Devils press for a lead, and they get another power play, which rolls over into the third period. There's 24 seconds left in it. The Avs finish the kill, but the shots are 5-1 for the Devils at 6 minutes. They played really, really well. There's a press by the Devils at the half. Kemper holds a Janssen chance. Hughes has one that's deflected wide. There's a power play then for the Devils, and they score their second power play goal of the game. It's Bastian from Hughes and Bratt at 13:04. So all of a sudden, it's a lead for New Jersey, and this is where the Avs start to kind of realize we could lose this. They have a lot of pressure with 4 minutes left. With 3:14 left, they have a power play. There were chances on that power play. However, with the empty net shorthanded goal, it's Sharangovich from Bastian at 18:19. So Bastian with a goal and an assist, and Sharangovich with another good game here, goal and an assist for him. New Jersey wins 5-3 over the Colorado Avalanche. They go to 21-31-5 for Colorado. Now they're now 41-12-5. And your 3 stars are Bratt, Hughes, and Bastian. The shots in this one, 14-8 New Jersey in the first, 18-8 New Jersey in the second, 11-10 New Jersey in the third. They were the better team most of the night. Final shots, 43-26 for the Devils. Power plays, both teams go 2 for 4. Hits were 17-9 for New Jersey. Kemper saves 38 out of 42. Dawes saves 23 out of 26. So, pretty solid all-around game. And your winner, New Jersey. All right, moving along. Philadelphia. So, here's the interesting thing. I get this. I get this magnet here. I see this sticker online as part of a sticker pack, and I'm like, I got to get that one. Now, what's interesting is there's also one for the Devils, which is right here. And I haven't made a magnet out of this one, but I mean, it's this team makes me drink, and what I thought that was kind of funny, but you know, I get this Flyers one, and gosh darn it, they're starting to win games, so I'll keep the goofy, gritty face up there. Seems to be working. It's Leonard versus Hart in this one. Early power play for Vegas. Stevenson's denied. That's killed off. And then on Philadelphia's first shot, Vegas had 5. Philadelphia scores. It's Braun from Konechny and Lawton at 4:44. Vegas tries to answer. The Flyers get some pressure halfway through the period. Vegas gets another power play. Strong shorthanded play by Patrick Brown. It's killed off. We then get a power play for the Flyers. That was killed off. The Flyers press with 4.5 minutes left. Eventually, they draw themselves another power play. They don't score on that. It's pretty shortly after the power play ends that Lindblom scores from Lawton and Provorov at 19:09. So all of a sudden, Philadelphia is up 2-0 in a period where Vegas played quite well. Vegas net crashes as they tried to answer, but they don't before the period's out. So it's 2-0 after the second period. Stevenson has a rush chance. That's held. The Flyers press at 3.5 minutes. There's too many men on the ice for Philly. Vegas gets a power play, and they score on it. It's Dodonov scoring his first in 18 games from Marchessault and Eichel at 6:26. And the shots 9 minutes through that period were 7-2 for Vegas. But there's a bend, don't break attitude with the Flyers tonight. There was a power play for the Flyers. That was killed off. Konechny has a prime chance from in front of the net. That was blocked by Vegas. Power play then for Vegas. That one's killed off as well. And we go to the third period. Philadelphia, they get a power play. It's killed off. The shots are 5-3 for Vegas at 6.5 minutes. So they're getting opportunities. But Carter Hart, one of the best games he's had all season tonight for Philly. So third period, Philly gets a power play. That's killed off. And again, you know, the shots being 5-3 Vegas at 6.5 minutes. You could just sense that Vegas wants to do their magical thing they do in a lot of games, which is late in the game, they tie it and then they win it. Pressed by the Vegas Golden Knights at 9 minutes. The Flyers are pinned down with 2 minutes left. There were shifts that Vegas had a lot of offensive opportunities, and Flyers weren't able to get it out, and they're tired. So again, I'm expecting that goal. With 1:45 left, there's a delay game call. So Vegas, they have the power play, and they pull the goaltender. So they go 6-on-4. 42 saves were so Carter Hart hit 42 saves right before that. It's a career high for Carter Hart. With 1:24 left, Vegas calls a timeout after another save by Carter Hart. Eichel was denied, and Hart holds on to that one. Lots of chances, but the Flyers do hold on. They win this one 2-1. They go to 18, 28, and 10 with the win. Vegas drops to 32, 22, and 4 with the loss. Your 3 stars are Hart, Braun, and Lindblom. The shots favor Vegas the whole way through. 14-8 the first, 17-8 in the second, 17-5 in the third. Final shots 48-21 for Vegas. Hart should have been all 3 stars, really. Power plays 1 for 5 for Vegas, 0 for 4 for Philly. The hits were 27-13 for Philly. Leonard saves 19 out of 21. Hart saves 47 out of 48. It's interesting, too, because I've heard, you know, well, Vegas has a pretty easy schedule from here, so they shouldn't have a problem making the playoffs. But you have to win the games. You have to go out and win the games. It's just like early in the season. Philadelphia's playing all the tough teams. They're losing here and there, but it's all right because their schedule is going to get easier. It got easier. They just kept losing. So, yeah, Vegas is going to have to, you know, do a little soul searching out of this one. Next up, Florida. The Florida Panthers in against the Pittsburgh Penguins. And this was a really good game, as expected. Really, really solid. It's Bobrovsky versus Jarry. Jarry's tested early. In fact, the shots are 5-0 Panthers 4 minutes into this. So where normally Florida seems to be a slow starter, they weren't tonight. At least recently they seem like they're slow starters. Penn's press at 7 minutes. Barkov has a fires high on a net drive. Mammon with a rush chance. That saved the Panthers press after that. Aston Reese with a rush. He fires high. Reinhart would open the scoring at 12:43. Just bats it out of the air. They debated about whether or not it might have been a high stick. They didn't challenge for the high stick. I don't think it was a high stick either. So if they challenged for it, I don't think there was conclusive evidence to overturn the call on the ice. So Pens try to answer. However, Florida adds to the lead. It's Ekblad from Barkov and Mammon at 14:38. The Penguins then get a power play. Shorthanded chance for Huberdeau. He's denied on that. The power play is killed off. So we go to the second period with the score still 2-0 for Florida. Early press by the Panthers, but the first goal of the period's for Pittsburgh. So at 3:07, it's Rust from Pettersson. That one went off Ekblad's stick. I think there were 2 went off Ekblad's stick tonight that ended up in their net. Gensel would then add one 9 seconds later from Crosby on a face-off win at 3:16. So all of a sudden, it's a tie game. And it's just like that. It's that fast that you're hearing party hard again. Penguins had momentum. They pressed for the lead. But the Panthers would get a power play and they score on it. It's Duclair from Huberdeau and Barkov at 7:02. So this is the difference maker to me between Florida now and Florida earlier in the season. A, they're playing well on the road. And B, that power play has really started to become lethal for them. Letang's then robbed on a Crosby setup. Luostarinen had a net drive. That was defended. The Panthers get a power play. That's killed off. With 5 seconds left, the Penguins get a power play. So that rolls over into the third. The Panthers did kill off the other minute and 55 seconds to start the third. Bennett with a net feed. That wouldn't go. Panthers press at 3 minutes. Eventually, Florida does get an insurance goal. Verhaeghe would score from Mammon at 11-11, and it's a fast break on a turnover that leads to that goal to make it 4-2. 5:43 left, the Penguins get a power play. That was killed off. And then at 17:51, Crosby scores from Carter and Rust to tighten this game up again to a 1-goal game. With 1:46 left, Penguins call a timeout. With 1:25 left, the Penguins ice the puck, meaning they have to put the goaltender back in. They would get him back out, but the Panthers, they do hold on. They win this one 4-3 on the road. They go to 39-13-5, and for Pittsburgh, they drop to 34-15-9 on the season. 3 stars are Verhaeghe, Crosby, and Duclair. The shots, 13-9 Florida in the first, 15-9 Pittsburgh in the second, 11-7 Pittsburgh in the third. Final shots, 35-29 for Pittsburgh. Power plays, 1 for 2 for Florida, 0 for 3 for Pittsburgh. Hits, 34-22 for Pittsburgh. Bobrovsky saves 32 out of 35. Jarry saves 25 out of 29. So this one had kind of a playoff feel to it. Florida comes out with the victory, and based on other results tonight, maybe we're going to start seeing a bit of a separation there when it comes to the lead in the division. Next up, Toronto. This ended up being a little more of a scare than expected, didn't it? Unless you expected it, which there were probably a lot of Toronto fans that did. Grubauer versus Campbell. They had a nice ceremony for Wayne Simmons before the game. I like those silver sticks they get at 1,000 games. Those are really cool looking. Leafs press at 2 minutes. There's a power play for the Leafs, and they score on it. It's Austin Matthews with his 41st of the year from Nylander and Riley at 3:18. And it is the 40th time in Seattle's season that they allow the first goal of the game. So they are fighting from behind quite often. They do fight back, though. It's Soucy on his own rebound from Appleton and Blackwell at 5:21. Ties up the game. So I think that's his 7th of the year. That tie doesn't last that long, though. At 9:55, almost halfway through the period, Tavares. He scores from Brody and Engvall. It's a fast break, and it's his first 5-on-5 goal in 21 games. So Tavares has been fighting it, and this one helps a lot. Puts Toronto ahead 2-1. Campbell to Blackwell. And then he robs him on it. So Campbell comes out of the net, and he put the puck to the wrong team. Blackwell's a Seattle Kraken player, and then he goes back in the net and robs him. So good play there by Campbell to make up for his own gaffe. Kasha with a rush chance that's saved in the final minute. We come out of the first period with the score 2-1 for Toronto. Second period. Leafs get a power play. Then there's a delay game call that gives the Leafs a 5-on-3 for 3 seconds. So during the 5-on-4, Nylander would score from Brody and Kasha at 5:14, and it's a 5-hole goal, and we can have the debate about whether or not Grubauer should save that or whether or not it's on the penalty killers, but it's in the net, and it makes it 3-1. Leafs have the momentum after the goal, but Seattle would press at the 7.5-minute mark. Kampf can't bury one as the Leafs are then pressing as well, and then Wenberg gets a goal on a 3-on-2 rush from Johansson and Eberle at 9 minutes and 20 seconds. And this is where now your momentum would shift back to Seattle. Appleton has a rush chance that's held. There's some pushing and shoving after that. Gord is denied as Seattle seeks the tie. The Leafs would get a power play. You expect the Leafs on the power play to get that goal. The goal actually scored by Seattle. And it's Blackwell from Gord at 11:49. So that's a 3-game goal scoring streak for Blackwell. Yeah. So that ties the game up. Seattle kills off the rest of it, and then they get a power play of their own. There's a post for McCann, and then the power play comes to an end on that. Marner with a rush chance, that's fired wide. Seattle gets a power play, and it lasts that long. We get 1 minute and 57 seconds of 4-on-4. So we end up rolling into the third period with the score tied at 3. Lauzon would break that tie from Jarnkrok and Wenberg at 5:57. And then shortly after, Seattle gets a power play, so they're ahead on the road. They've got a power play, a chance to go up by 2 goals. It's killed off. There was just the one chance for Seattle during that power play, and it feels like, looking at this game, that maybe that's where Toronto gets some momentum. So Bunting can't bury one on a turnover, but Matthews would score his 42nd from Bunting and Marner at 9:03. The Leafs then get a power play. And yeah, this is a power play goal. Marner from Tavares at 9:43. So that puts them ahead. Kind of nice and clean there. 5-4. 3:40 left. We get 2 minutes of 4-on-4. Some open ice out there. Goalie pull with 2 minutes and 40 seconds left. That allows Matthews to get the hat trick. And his 43rd of the year from Liljegren and Bunting at 19:18. Toronto, again, it's a scare, but they survive it. They win 6-4. They go to 37-16-4. And Seattle 17-37-5 with the loss. The 3 stars in this one, Marner, Matthews, and Blackwell. Shots, 11 apiece in the first, 11-10 Toronto in the second, 10-9 Toronto in the third. Shots were close. Final shots, 32-30 for Toronto. Power play, Seattle 0-3, Toronto 3-6. So that's your difference maker right there. Hits, 25-21 for Seattle. Grubauer saves 26 out of 31. Campbell saves 26 out of 30. So it was not a great night for Campbell, but he gets the victory. So here's to hoping that maybe that means that he'll start to turn things around. They got the win for him. That being said, I need to change boards. Wow. Yeah, there really isn't any other way to go with this. This did come in the Cobra Kai. I'll show this because I know from a distance, and for anybody on their phone, it won't show what it is. But it's the Cobra Commander, and it says Cobra Kai, and I thought, yeah, sure. So I'll magnet that up too. Again, when you get sticker packs, especially if you get them through Amazon, you're going to get some interesting stickers that don't really fit the theme that you're going for with the sticker pack. You may even get stuff that's not even related. It's happened many times. So it's Vejmelka versus Nedeljkovic in this one, and those names are fun to say back to back, and it almost looks like Vejmelka could be an anagram for Nedeljkovic, but the extra letters. But anyways, Boyd would score a minute into this game from Schmaltz and Mayo, which is an indicator for how this game's about to go. The Wings would try to answer. Wide open start with turnovers by both teams. It was some sloppy hockey to start. The Wings get a power play. Larkin's shot is saved, but then Fabry ties up the game with 1 second left in the power play from Bertuzzi and Larkin at 6:06. And the shots are 5-5 at 7 minutes. This is a nice, evenly played. Ritchie would score from Hayden and Eriksson at 8:15. Remember I said they pick up Ritchie from Toronto. They could, bring him back to life and get his stats up to where you'd like to see them, and then trade him at the deadline for something else. I think that's going to happen. Good shift leads to the goal. Coyotes then get a power play. The Wings wouldn't let them set up. And so at 13:19, 5-on-5, Chychrun, he scores from Hayden and Eriksson, and he dove to put in the loose puck. So it gets past Nedeljkovic, and it ends up in the net. So it's 3-1 after the first. Second period at 1:04, Schmaltz scores from Keller and Gostisbehere. 51 seconds after that, Chychrun gets the second of the game from Hayden and Ritchie. So there's Ritchie with 2 points. And then at 4:49, it's Mosier from Schmaltz and Hayden. Now, to make this look even better, the shots are 10-4 for the Wings at the halfway mark. That's 3 goals. 3 goals on 4 shots at the half. Wings then get a power play, and they score on it. It's Vrana from Zadina and Rasmussen at 17 minutes, but exactly 2 minutes later, it's Nick Schmaltz. And if you have him in your fantasy team right now, or in your fantasy league, you got to be happy. He scores from Keller and Boyd at 19 minutes, so that's 2 goals to go with an assist for Schmaltz. He wants to be in the 3 stars again next week. So that makes the score a lot to 2 in favor of Arizona, and then in the third period, my last Kachina magnet goes on the board. It's Fisher from Chychrun and Krause at 4:17. Shots are 3-2 for the Coyotes at 7 minutes. I did not think I would need more than 8 Kachina magnets. I really didn't think that was going to be a thing. But at 10:53, Keller scores from Stroman, the 9th goal of the game for Arizona. 9 goals. This is the Coyotes. The Coyotes have scored 17 goals in their last 2 games. So I guess they looked at the goal scoring and went, wow, we're really low. We can fix that, right? Sure. So Wings get a 4-minute power play. The Coyotes killed that off. Your final score is 9-2. Detroit drops to 24, 27, and 6, and they dropped on the power rankings board. Yep. Arizona 17, 35, and 4 with the victory, and don't look now. They're 1 point behind Seattle for last place in the conference. They could jump past Seattle this week. So your 3 stars are Schmaltz, Chychrun, and Ritchie. Shots are 11-7 Arizona in the first, 15-9 in favor of Detroit in the second. a period where they gave up 4 goals. 10-6 Arizona in the third. Final shots 30-28 for Arizona. Power plays, Arizona 0 for 1, Detroit 2 for 4, so they didn't get anything 5-on-5. Hits 33-22 for Detroit. Vejmelka saves 26 out of 28. Nedeljkovic had a rough night, 20 out of 27 for him, and Grace 1 out of 3. He saved 1 out of 3. So both goaltenders in Detroit, their numbers are ballooning. Detroit has allowed about, well, it was 5.4 goals per game they were allowing coming into this one since February 21st. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that number's gone up. And so, yeah, Detroit is spectacularly flaming out. And there's a little 20-second video I saw of Steve Yzerman watching this. Yzerman's not happy. If you play for the Red Wings, you might be getting traded tomorrow. All right, or tonight. Ottawa. So the Blues have been having some trouble lately. And I don't know how you wake them up. So they beat Buffalo barely. Or no, it was Minnesota beat Buffalo. Minnesota's had their problems too. There's a Central Division theme going on. We'll get to you. But you know, Seattle, they have, right, the Islanders and the Devils. Right, the Islanders and the Devils. Minnesota's a whole other issue, and Dallas is, we'll get to them. But St. Louis should be winning games that they're not. And this is where that whole argument of, well, they've got an easy schedule coming up. You have to beat the teams that are the ones you're supposed to beat, or else you might be in trouble when you're against the teams that are a lot more difficult. So it's Forsberg versus Binnington. Forsberg continues the remarkable run he's been on. Early press by the Blues. Zaitsev has a blast that deflects wide. The Blues get a power play. That was killed off. Tkachuk gets a post. Remember, his dad works for the Blues, and for Brady it would be, you know, a nice feather in his cap to score in St. Louis, which he hadn't done before tonight. O'Reilly misses wide on a rush. Sens get a power play. They score on it. This has been a thorn in their side this season, but the power play works here. It's Stützle from White and Norris at 11:35. Perron would answer from O'Reilly at 14:43, but the Senators get a power play with 18 seconds left. That rolls over into the second period. They score on it. It's Norris from Stützle and White at 1:24. The shots 4 minutes into the second period are 5-0 for the Sens. I didn't have to take a whole lot of notes because St. Louis wasn't doing a lot. It's not that Ottawa was dominating or playing really well, but the Blues were held to 2 shots with 6 minutes left in the second period. They ended up with 3 in the entire period. This is a game they need. This is a game, I mean, they would know at this point that Colorado, you know, was having trouble with New Jersey, and while they're not going to catch Colorado, well, at least, you know, get the win. And you're probably looking at the out-of-town scoreboard and seeing what's going on with Minnesota, but nope. Really flat by the Blues through 40, and especially in that second period. First period, they played well, just Forsberg was better. Third period, Tarasenko has a rush chance save. There's some pushing after a save by Forsberg. Shots lower 5-4 for the Sens at 6 minutes. They're just outperforming St. Louis. Shen was denied. The Sens clear it out. That was after a press by the Blues 7 minutes in, and on a fast break right after that, it's Tkachuk. Tkachuk scores from Norris at 7:48. And that really took the wind out of that took the crowd right out of it, took the wind out of the sails of the Blues if they were thinking about a comeback. Tkachuk nearly adds another. The Blues pull the goaltender with more than 3 minutes left, and at 17:13, Formenton puts it in the empty net from Stützle, and your final score is 3-1 for Ottawa. They go to 20-31-5 with the win. St. Louis 32-17-7 with the loss. Your 3 stars are Tkachuk, Forsberg, and Norris. The shots 10-5 St. Louis in the first, 11-3 Ottawa in the second, 12-10 Ottawa in the third. Final shots 28-23 for the Senators, who go 2 for 2 on the power play. They got to work on that penalty kill. St. Louis only had 1 power play. They didn't score on it. The hits were 24-22 for St. Louis. Forsberg saves 22 out of 23. Binnington saves 24 out of 27. For the record, the app is still having the issue with the hits, so I'm just manually adding them up, looking at the team's stat lines at the end of the game. So it's as accurate as I can get it. Those numbers always change anyways. I'm just throwing that out there. Next up, Dallas. So I mentioned in my review of the last Boston game against LA that, you know, I don't have any faith in them holding a lead late. Let's bring Dallas into the into the conversation. So it's Dallas and Nashville the final time this season. These teams always have good games and they're close. This is the game I really didn't see a whole lot going on in until the third period. So Ottinger versus Saros, the shots were 2-1 for the Preds 5 minutes into it. Robertson has a rush chance that's defended. The Stars were stuck on one shot. The shots are 8-3 for the Predators with 7.5 minutes left. The Predators press with 3 minutes left. Sissons is denied. There's some pushing after that. There's a late power play for the Stars. They have 27 seconds of power play time to start the second. Predators kill that off. Nashville gets a power play. That's killed off. They get another one. Dallas's penalty kill performed well again tonight, and there was just the 3 power plays in the entire game. So we go to the third period with it still scoreless. Pretty, I mean, I'll say clean game from the point of view that there's just the 3 power plays. There hasn't been any scoring yet. 32 seconds into the third period, on their first shot of the period, Klingberg scores for Dallas from Lindell and Gurianov. But the Preds tried to answer, and really, I thought they outplayed them. I know that that Dallas has more shots in the third, but it really didn't feel like that. Cousins has a chance that's blocked. I accidentally spelled it the Buffalo Cousins rather than Nick Cousins, so sorry, Dylan, you've been traded. I can't be wrong, so I'm kidding. Stars are holding the Preds to the outside when the Predators do get opportunities. Forsberg, his shot was blocked. There's more blocks going on for Dallas in that period. There's some punching and pushing going on with 8:16 left. We end up with a 4-on-4. Dallas was going to have a power play there, but punching after meant they didn't. Fans inform the refs that they suck at this point, because you have to inform. How else would they know? Raffle with a break, Saros saves, and then at 13:08, Johansson scores from Carrier and Duchesne. And in that moment, I went, there's no way Dallas is going to win this, because Nashville had been the better team through large portions of this game. And I knew that rightfully Nashville should win the game. So Predators are looking for the lead. Penalty boxes filling up here and there. But at 18:38, Yossi would score from Fabro. Makes it 2-1. That would be the final score. Nashville 32-20-4. They jump past Dallas by a point. Dallas 32-21-3 are now the second wild card in the West. And so now they have to worry about teams beneath them. Your 3 stars in this are Yossi, Johansson, and Ottinger. Ottinger was great. Shots are 10-5 Nashville in the first, 14-8 Nashville in the second, 10-7 Dallas in the third. Final shots 31-23 for Nashville. Power plays, Dallas 0 for 1, Nashville 0 for 2. The hits were 33-30 for Nashville. Ottinger saves 29 out of 31. Saros saves 22 out of 23. And there you go. Another game done between them, and they won't see each other unless it's in the playoffs until next season. Next up, Rangers in Minnesota. Here's the thing. When Georgiev's in net, it's not the same as when Igor's in net. And I just wonder when you see this, like, is this a sign that Georgiev's, maybe needing to be moved on from if you're the Rangers? Maybe bring up Kincaid. I'm just saying, or, trade him and bring somebody else in. Or does this reveal how much Shesterkin is getting them wins? And you're going to get that argument. So it's Georgiev versus Talbot in this one. Good start for the Wild. They were leading in shots 3-1 at 8 minutes. And at 10:38, they open the scoring. It's Hartman scoring from Kaprizov. He continues this remarkable career year that he's on. Rangers were stuck at 2 shots with 7 minutes left. Not that there were a lot of shots for Minnesota either, but the Rangers are behind. Eriksson Ek would make that worse for them from Foligno and Greenway at 14:41. So coming out of the first period, it's 2-0 in favor of the Minnesota Wild. Second period, Dryden Hunt would score from Strome and Panarin at 5:03. Then there's a power play for the Wild, though. So they have a chance to get the lead back up to 2 goals. Nope. Shorthanded goal. Zibanejad, he stripped it off of Zuccarello's stick. So he understood that Zuccarello coming back as a forward, and not really a defenseman. This is where that whole playing a forward on the blue line on your power play is dangerous. I think it's sometimes that's why we see as many shorthanded opportunities as we do, because you have a forward playing on the point rather than a defenseman. So Zibanejad scores at 8:07 to make it a 2-2 tie. And the momentum seemed to have shifted, but there's a power play in favor of Minnesota, and they score on it. It's Fiala from Boldy and Foligno, and the hits start picking up at this point as well in the second period. Foligno would score from Dumba and Brodin at 13:06. The Wild then press with 4.5 minutes left, and eventually they score again. It's Fiala from Zuccarello at 17:44. So Kevin Fiala playing very well, lights out, and so all those rumors of, hey, Besser for Fiala, those are gone. Minnesota's hanging up the phone on that. So we go to the third period with the score 5-2, and the shots are 5-2 for the Wild at 6.5 minutes. Fox then with a net feed, that's blocked and cleared. Goudreau was denied and close. The fans call a trip. The referee does not. The Wild press with 9.5 minutes left. Kaprizov is robbed, but a 3-goal lead, and they win it. Your final score is 5-2 for Minnesota. They go to 33-19-3. They desperately needed this win. The Rangers 36-16-5 with the loss. And what makes it sting is Pittsburgh lost tonight too. They're still tied. The Rangers don't get that even a point to get ahead of Pittsburgh. So your 3 stars are Foligno, Fiala, and Talbot. Shots, 6 apiece in the first, 11-7 Minnesota in the second, 12-11 Rangers in the third. Final shots, 28-25 for Minnesota. No power plays for the Rangers. 1 power play for Minnesota. They scored on it. Hits 19-18 for Minnesota. Georgiev, 23 saves on 28 shots. Talbot, 23 saves on 25 shots. And so Minnesota's back in the win column. And now they need to, kind of get things rolling. They do make up 2 points on St. Louis. And so that race is not quite over yet. But Nashville, of course, made up a couple of points too. And really, we are seeing this contraction between these teams in the Central. And it's going to be fun from here. I do need to change boards. Now, this might have been my biggest surprise of the night right here, is the Winnipeg Jets and how this game goes down. It felt sort of like the Montreal game, right? But for Winnipeg, it's not as tidy of a game as you probably want to see, but the end result is what you want. So it's Vasilevsky versus Hellebuck in this one. There's an early power play for the Jets. That was killed off, but not long after it ends, Scheifele scores from Stastny and Schmidt at 4:19. And then Lowry, who's been hot lately, he scores from Ehlers and Dillon at 6:11. Jets are pressing for more. Bolts get a power play. That's killed off. Jets with a rush. Scheifele has a tip that's saved. This is the game that I had on my computer while there's 6 other games I'm tracking on the TV, so I heard a lot of it. McDonough scores from Joseph at 11:50, but the Jets come back and they make it a 3-1 lead. It's Stastny from Pionk at 14:36. Ehlers then almost adds another, but because he didn't, Tampa Bay answers. It's Killorn from Perry and Stamkos at 16:01. And then not long after that, Hedman scores from Kucherov and Cirelli at 17:30. And before the period's out, Kyle Connor hit a post. Otherwise, it would have been 4-3 for Winnipeg. So, pretty busy first period. Second period, Jets press at 3.5 minutes. The shots are 4 apiece halfway through the period. Ehlers with a rush chance, that saved. Keep in mind, this is when there's 11 games on. Ehlers with a rush chance saved. Dubois denied as the Jets press. The Jets get a power play. Vasilevsky denies Wheeler during that. Good power play. Vasilevsky, though, is doing his best to keep the game scored or game tied. We then get 28 seconds of 5-on-3 for the Jets. Tampa Bay did kill that off. So we go to the third period, still tied at 3. Much more settled second period than first. Good back and forth early. Power play for the Bolts. Shorthanded chance for Tony Nato was saved. It's killed off. The Bolts press after. The Jets, though, they get a power play and they score on it. It's Dubois from Connor and Morrissey at 7:25. So Tampa Bay then gets a power play, and you're expecting with this back and forth that they're going to score. But Connor scores at 9:16, and what happened is Kucherov falls down. It's a fast break for Connor, and he puts it around Vasilevsky. It was a beautiful goal by Connor. And again, he's been fantastic lately. Jets kill off the rest, just the one shot. Things get punchy with 6:20 left. That leads to 4-on-4. The Bolts press with 5.5 minutes left, but Morrissey hits the empty net from Scheifele and Wheeler at 14:48. So the early goalie pull by Tampa, and it doesn't have the hope that they would have had for it. Harkins then hits a post. That didn't look like it was all that important, but Colton would score from Ruda and Radish at 17:15 to make it somewhat close. 2-goal lead. So they pull the goalie again. That allows Stastny to get his second goal of the game from Wheeler and Scheifele at 17:29. Scheifele's been scoring at an incredible rate, which is what he needed to do if they were going to have a chance at making the playoffs. I still don't see them as having a great chance of making the playoffs, but he got 3 points tonight. Your final score is 7-4. Winnipeg goes to 25-22-10. For the Tampa Bay Lightning, they're 37-13-6, and they just watched Florida win tonight, so now they're 3 points back of Florida. 3 stars are Scheifele, Dubois, and Wheeler. Shots are 12-11 Winnipeg in the first, 11-4 Winnipeg in the second, 10-9 Winnipeg in the third. And then your power plays, 0-3 for Tampa, 1-4 for Winnipeg. Hits 21-17 for Winnipeg. Vasilevsky, 26 saves on 31 shots. Hellebuck, 20 saves on 24 shots. We had no overtime tonight. I'm realizing that now. We had no overtime tonight, which is good. Because I don't, yeah. Overtime, I try to make sure I watch every single second of an overtime, because there's a lot that happens in a short period with the 3-on-3. I don't know how that would have worked with 11 games on at the same time. All right. Next up, wow, Chicago, right? So the Chicago Blackhawks have had a rough year. I think this was a game that I was surprised that the United Center wasn't completely full the whole time. Honestly. When they said at the end of this, well, for fans that are still here, I'm thinking, why in the world would you leave during this game? Because it's felt like old Blackhawks hockey. So it's Gibson versus Fleury, and on the first shot by Chicago, it goes in the net. It's Strome from Kane and DeBrincat at 1:38. The Hawks would get a power play. That's killed off, but DeBrincat makes it 2-0 from Kane and Strome at 7:05. The shots are 6-4 for the Hawks at 9.5 minutes. Terry then with a net drive. Taves defends on that. Hagel has a shot that's blocked. There's a power play for the Ducks. That leads to a shorthanded 2-on-1 where Lafferty fires one wide. That power play's killed off. And then Kane adds one from DeBrincat and McCabe at 13:53. So Kane had a career night. And that was right after the penalty kill ends. The Hawks get a power play, or they didn't. Because what happens is, during the delayed penalty, they score. It's Carpenter from Kane and Caleb Jones at 17:14. And I've seen people say, you know, when they pull the goalie, they score during a delayed game call, or delayed power play. Should that count as a power play goal? You can make that argument. It's not a thing, but I understand why people feel that way, because it is a 6-on-5 goal, right? But then you'd have to call them power play goals when they pull the goalie at the end too. So the Ducks get a power play with 2 minutes and 11 seconds left. That backfires. Taves scores shorthanded from Hagel at 19:32. So it's 5-0 after one. Second period. Hagel scores from McCabe and Murphy at 19 seconds. It's 6-0. This game is out of reach. So there's the Cobra Kai No Mercy. We'll just stop there. No. The Ducks, for what it's worth, they tried. They fought back. Silverberg scores from Steele and Mahura at 4:31. The Ducks then get a power play and they score on it. It's Zegras with a nice goal from Steele and Lindholm at 7:19. And then seconds later at 7:57, it's Henrique from Fowler and Comtois. So suddenly it's 6-3. And since it's Chicago and we've seen lopsided scores for or against, I mean, it's possible, right? Terry then had a net drive. He couldn't bury it. Hawks have a 3-on-2. Stolarz saves there. And Strome would score to restore a big lead, 7-3 at that point, from Kane and Seth Jones at 14:50. So, yeah, Kane, just a remarkable night. All kinds of helpers for him. We go to the third period. Hawks get a power play. Strome's denied. That power play's killed off. Shots are 9-1 for the Hawks at 9.5 minutes. Hawks are killing the clock as well in the second half, and then they figure, why not? So Strome gets a hat trick from Kane and DeBrincat at 17:16. They had a hat giveaway, so people coming in the door got a free hat, like a complimentary hat. So you know those complimentary hats hit the ice, right? Sure they did. And so a lot of green hats on the ice. So 8-3 is your final score, and a hat trick for Strome as he continues this remarkable run he's been on. If they decide to move him, at the very least, his value's gone up. If they decide not to move him, I really couldn't blame them, because he's been very good for them. So 8-3 win for Chicago. They go to 21-29-8. Anaheim needed this game. They're 27-23-9, and now they're watching as the playoffs get further and further away for them. 3 stars are Kane, Strome, and McCabe. Shots in this one, 13-6. Chicago in the first, 19-7. Anaheim in the second, 12-7. Chicago in the third. Final shots, both teams had 32 shots. Power plays, Anaheim 1 for 4. Chicago over 2. Hits, 33-28 for Anaheim. Gibson saves 8 out of 13. That'll hurt his save percentage. Stolarz saves 16 out of 19. And Fleury saved 29 out of 32. Relatively good night for Fleury. And, getting him a 6-0 lead will make things a little bit easier for him, right? So, what an incredibly bizarre night of hockey we had. Speaking of which, Washington in against the Calgary Flames. So we're still watching to see, hey, Ovechkin's chasing Yager. When's he going to catch him? Here we go. So it's Vanacek versus Vladar. Early power play for the Flames. That's killed off. The shots, though, are 2-1 for the Caps at 4 minutes. The Caps played a pretty solid road game for most of this. They get a power play, do the Caps. That's killed off. And then at 9:40, so shortly before halfway through the period, Lindholm scores from Gaudreau and Anderson. So it's 1-0 Calgary. Dowd had a rush chance that fired high. Every time I went back to this game, it felt like Dowd was prominent. So we go to the second period with Calgary up 1-0. Vladar saves on Sherry. There's some back and forth chances at 3 minutes. Caps get a power play. That's killed off. And then Ruzicka scores from Mangiapane and Dubé at 8:54. So it's 2-0 Calgary. And for Calgary, that's usually kind of lights out. Usually if they have a lead and they're playing well early on, that's usually it. But at 10:27, Sherry, he scores. And as soon as Sherry gets that goal, that momentum swing takes place. And it leads to Ovechkin scoring from Kuznetsov at 13:23. That puts Ovechkin at 765. Yager's at 766. Goudreau then hits a post on a steal. There was a post for Nick Dowd. Turnovers by both teams. And in the last minute, there's a press by the Flames. Goudreau with a nice tip. That was saved and held by Vanacek. So we go to the third period with the score tied at 2. Early press by Calgary. Monahan has a rush chance that's defended. But then Shillington with a goal that goes off McMichael's stick in front of the net from Coleman at 3:45. And that makes it 3-2 for Calgary. So again, it's third period. They're ahead. Usually it's lights out for Calgary at this point. They're 14-1-1 in their last 16 coming into tonight. Hathaway nearly answers. The Flames press at set 4.5 minutes. And they had just this swarming offense going on at that point in the game. It's just wave after wave. Dubé's denied during a 2-on-1. Vanacek gets knocked down, but he was outside the crease. So I know that he was looking for a call, but to me, him and Tkachuk were both going for the same puck, and so getting knocked down when you're outside the crease. Goalies are supposed to be fair game. I know referees call that. They are inconsistent with when they call that when a goalie's out of the crease. It's just one of those things. And then Mantha. Mantha ties the game from Backstrom and Jensen at 8:21. It was a very nice goal by Mantha. Toffoli then nearly answers. The Caps get themselves a power play. Kuznetsov with a break. He's denied. And that power play's killed off. However, Nick Dowd from Janssen Fialbi and Jensen at 11:50. And there's Dowd being rewarded for what was a fantastic game for him with a goal. And that suddenly puts Washington ahead 4-3 on the road. Kuznetsov then with a net feed. That wouldn't go. Lindholm has a tip that's saved with 5 minutes left. The goalie gets pulled with 2 minutes left. That allows an empty netter to take place. It is Ovechkin. He has tied Jaromir Jagr for third on the all-time goal-scoring list with 766. From Wilson and Jensen at 18:12. So now he's 128 away from Gretzky. He's going to get there. And then Lindholm would answer from Toffoli and Anderson at 19:20, and it was on a nice face-off win. That's as close as Calgary gets. Your final score is 5-4 for the Caps to go to 31-18-9. They desperately needed this. Calgary 34-15-7, so the Kings are, grateful to the Caps for this one because, now they have a chance to maybe catch up a little bit. Your 3 stars are Sherry, Jensen, and Lindholm. Your shots, 9 apiece in the first, 15-7 Calgary in the second, and then both teams had 11 shots in the third. Final shots, 35-27 for the Flames. Power plays, Washington 0-3, Calgary 0-1. Your hits, 21-12 for Calgary. Vanacek saves 31 out of 35. Vladar saves 22 out of 26. And that's it for tonight. So, just the 2 games tomorrow. It'll be a much quieter evening. But you guys are all caught up on the 11 games that took place tonight. Keep in mind, I watch the games. I finish the boards, then I do the review. I don't watch a bunch of highlight reel packages because when I do, I find that just backs up the review way, way, way beyond what it should be when it's posted. And so there you go. Thank you guys so much for all your support. Let me know your thoughts regarding these games in the comment section below as always. And if you haven't already hit like and subscribe, both buttons are greatly appreciated if you hit them. Thank you guys so much for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.